Welcome to this edition of Safety First. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. Today we're coming to you from a very unique place here in the city of Suffolk, a place that'll be changing over the next couple of months, and to talk about what we're going to cover in today's program, which really includes National Telecommunicators Week. We have two experts on the subject who are, of course, we're coming to you from the dispatch center here with the city of Suffolk, so we're going to let them tell you about what they do and some of the fascinating things happening here in the city and with this particular division of Suffolk Police and Suffolk Fire and Rescue. For the show today, we have Senior Dispatcher Brandy Curl and Supervisor Del Shannon. Ladies, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Well, we mentioned off the top National Telecommunicators Week. What exactly is that week set aside to recognize?
Dispatchers in not only, well, in the Hampton Roads area. There's, we say, the 7 cities. And so this year we're starting on Saturday, the 12th. We have a banquet for the dispatchers. It's a Telecommunicators banquet.
Right.
And it'll be the 27th year.
Okay.
And it'll start Saturday to Saturday. And just recognizing dispatchers as our work over, actually what we do overall.
Right.
In a week's time, in a day's time, monthly. And it's a good time.
Right.
And we recognize Dispatcher of the Year, Supervisor of the Year, and they also recognize Team of the Year.
Okay. Now, in the city of Suffolk, what does a dispatcher or a telecommunicator do? What do your jobs entail?
Mostly we do non-emergency and emergency phone calls from the citizens, and we filter those through and send the appropriate personnel, medical, fire, and police.
Right.
And we also do emergency medical dispatching. And we can give pre-arrival medical instructions to people, for instance, CPR or the Heimlich maneuver or anything like that until help arrives. And we work with Public Works, Animal Control, all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that it's not just police, it's not just Suffolk Fire and Rescue, and you mentioned the other departments that you work with to help dispatch, and the fact that multiple people I should say, are in this center 24 hours a day here to take the call when you dial 911, or if you dial the non-emergency police number as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Now, as far as when you handle things, obviously nothing really transpires. You're the first point of contact for someone before, say, a police unit or emergency unit is rolling on the scene. What are the things y'all look to do to kind of help the people, calm the people that call? Because I know sometimes you probably get some people that are a little excited or a little nervous or whatever, given the situation they're dealing with back on the other end of the phone. How do y'all deal with that?
It's not easy sometimes. I mean, you know, basically just getting the person to be calm, keeping them calm, getting the question, you know, that they're asking us, making sure we understand what they're asking. Actually, we're giving them the information, we're directing them to the right location, to the right officer, maybe to the right department. But just keeping that person calm on the phone, sometimes we have to just kind of just stay quiet for a minute, let them know that we're definitely here. You know, we're listening all the time and still entering that information in there.
Correct.
Just letting them know that we're still entering that information in. And without a doubt, they know that someone is coming. You know, we can't give them that time frame, but we let them know that if there's another call in front of them, you know, if it's an emergency or not.
And of course, I think the biggest thing is y'all are trying to provide a calming influence on the situation.
All the time.
You know, analyze what's going on, and the training that y'all and your coworkers involved. I mean, this is something that it's an ongoing training process. It doesn't just end when you get the job, correct?
All day. Every day.
Now, as far as certainly, you know, you're a supervisor, you're a senior dispatcher as far as working here, just kind of talk about and I hate to use the word typical because I'm sure there's not a typical day when you're back here, but what is a typical day like for you and your coworkers? I mean, how does a day typically unfold, or a shift typically unfold?
It just depends. It varies day to day. Lots of phone calls and lots of calls for service. I mean, we just take it one by one. Whatever comes in, we deal with it at the time. And so there's really no typical day. You
never know what you're going to walk into. You know, you can come in and it can be a common morning for about 2 hours, I mean, but still there are steady calls coming in. You can come in where they may have just worked a vehicle accident with injuries, a fatality. We don't know what the day is going to begin with, nor what the day is going to end with. So, like she said, from day to day, we have no idea, but we're ready. We always want to answer that phone call. Always.
Well, I know one thing is we're spending a little time down here. Team atmosphere definitely seems to be in play. Because again, how many shifts do y'all have over the course of a 24-hour day? How does that typically segment out?
3 shifts.
3 shifts.
We have 3 shifts. Okay. 3 shifts to a max of 6, minimum with 4 staffing. And as you heard, maybe the phone's just ringing. We don't know what those calls are right now, so that's kind of like my thing. Like, I don't know what's on the other end. And that's the thing, you never know what's on the other end of that call. As she said, we take EMS calls.
Right.
It could be CPR that need to be, given to a person from an infant to an adult.
And of course, one thing to note, while these ladies are sitting here, we do have people manning the phones, so don't
Yes.
think
Right.
that the
Yes.
calls are going unanswered while we're taping this, just to cover that. But if someone calls, well, actually I should say, if someone ever in their future has to make the call to 911, any tips or advice that either one of you or both of you maybe give to them, to things they might not think about? Again, every situation's different.
Right.
And if things are fluid or a little bit stressful, or there's an emergency situation, I mean, we always don't have the ability to think rationally.
Right.
But what are some good things to think about that if you do have to call 911, that you want to make sure you get across to the person on the other line?
The most important thing is they need to be able to tell us where they are. If they don't have an address, landmark,
Right.
tell us what you see. And then if they can't tell us what's going on, at least we can start somebody that way.
Sure.
And don't hang up.
Right.
Stay on the line as long as you can, and it's safe to do so.
Sure.
And just give us everything you have, and we take it from there.
Okay.
And yeah, and with that, with our emergency calls we have received where there has been someone maybe in danger and they don't know, they can keep that line open. Like she said, just keep the phone open. We do tell them that a lot of times. We've had it where we've actually had to tell, kind of receive a code, just a color or
Right.
something, just to kind of let us know that you're still okay, what the person is wearing, what's going on, what's happening in the home, or what's happening on the street where you are. So yeah, just keep that line open. Never just hang right up. We will call back.
Right.
We do have it where 911 calls come in, landline or wireless, and we have the number. We have the capability of receiving the anti-alley information, which is information right on our screen to tell us your address, telephone number,
Right.
your name, and the tower site
For cell phones.
for cell phones.
Right.
And then with that, we can also do a trace.
Okay.
So within a matter of minutes, we're doing a trace, and someone is going to be knocking on your door.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, I know, from time to time, and unfortunately I had this situation happen in my house where my son picked up the phone and dialed 911 and there wasn't anything going on.
Right.
So I know that those situations may come up. Any suggestions for parents as far as making sure children know to dial 911, which is extremely important, 3 numbers to remember, but also to make sure what would you tell parents and care providers to make sure they instruct the young people? It's not a toy. You're not playing
Right.
around.
So if they do call, not to just call and hang up.
Right.
Tell us what you're doing, or put the adult on the phone, explain to us.
Sure.
As long as we can determine that there's, nothing going on in the background or anything, it's okay. I mean, they need to know how to dial.
Right.
So
And I'm
just
sure
don't
that
hang up.
right, and I'm sure
It
that happens from
happens.
time to time, but
Right.
Happens.
and sometimes by accident, sometimes, and it could be a child, it could be a teenager or an adult or somebody. But
Right.
obviously, again, we're talking serious business, and y'all are here to respond to emergencies or non-emergencies. And I would think as well, sometimes you might get calls, general questions about cities or departments and
We
things
do.
within the city, because people are looking to get a hold of someone maybe after hours or whatever, and
Right.
and y'all are the ones that are
Yes.
always here.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes. Well, one thing, just a tip.
Sure.
Sometimes parents give their kids the old phones, the old cell phones
Right.
to use, and they still work. They
Right.
still dial 911. The only thing about it that we cannot trace those lines.
Okay.
And if they would just take the batteries out of the cell phones, give them to the kids to play, then
Right.
it's fine. But we do receive a lot of those calls too.
Okay. Okay. Good advice. Good
Yeah.
advice. Now, I mentioned off the top of the program as well, we're sitting in what has been the dispatch center in the city of Suffolk for quite some time. But when the new E911 Municipal Center opens up later this summer and early fall, autumn, it's going to be a nice new environment for you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about your excitement about
Yeah.
having the new facility, the new amenities that are going to be provided. Because again, we're talking about 24-hour staffing.
Yes.
It's not an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday job.
That's right.
I mean, there's someone here always operating the facility.
Yes.
So if you could just maybe share your thoughts about the new facility that's coming up.
I think we're just excited overall.
Right.
Bigger, newer equipment, windows. We're going to have windows.
Right.
Yes.
We're very excited about that. It's just exciting overall, all of it.
Sure.
I'm very excited because I'm not saying, how long I've been here yet, but I started when there was just one room,
Right.
one dispatcher working, to this location where we are right now.
Sure.
Working with at least 6 dispatchers on duty at a time, and now going to where we have a staff still about the same, but we're increasing. And going to a new building is exciting for me, definitely. So I have a long period here, and I can't wait.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, again, of course, a better working environment for you and your coworkers is going to mean better responsiveness as far as not, you know, we have great response right now as far as being there and being that voice on the other end of the phone. But again, to help that situation out, again, better equipment, new, more advanced equipment, as well as the ability for y'all to have a little more comfort and windows.
And
and windows. Which again, if you're in the room, if you could see around the room we're in right now, there are no windows. So I guess whether it's a weather situation or you don't know what's going on outside sometimes.
Not
but,
at any time do we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, that all will be changing very soon. So we'll have to take a tour of the new site when everything is up and running. And again, thank you, ladies, Dell and Brandy, both for joining us today on this edition of Safety First. And that will do it for today's program.
Thank you.